Captain Day One Kim stood on the bridge of the New Dawn and watched the endless darkness of space through the main screen. 50 years had passed since the Great Scattering. 50 years since humanity had been forced to run from their home world, Earth. The memories still burned in his mind like acid. The war had been brutal. The hegemony came with 12 alien races united in one goal. They wanted to destroy every human in the galaxy. They said humans were too dangerous to live, too violent, too unpredictable. The war lasted 7 years. 7 years of death and destruction. Day-1 remembered the final days on Earth. The sky had turned red with fire. Cities burned like candles. Millions died every day. The lucky ones managed to get on ships and escape. The unlucky ones stayed behind and became ash. Captain called Dr. Yoon-ha Park from her station. She was the ship's chief medical officer and one of the few people who still remembered what Earth looked like before the war. I have finished checking the genetic samples again. We still have enough DNA to start new colonies if we find the right planets. Day One nodded. The genetic samples were precious. They contained the biological future of humanity. Every ship that escaped Earth carried some samples. It was their insurance policy against complete extinction. "How many ships do you think are still out there?" asked Lieutenant Bormley. She was young, born on the New Dawn during their long journey through space. She had never seen Earth, never walked on solid ground under a real sun. "Hard to say," Daewon replied. "Maybe thousands, maybe hundreds, maybe just a few dozen." He paused and looked at the star charts. But they are out there, somewhere. The New Dawn was not a military ship. It was a refugee vessel built from spare parts and hope. It carried 3,000 survivors who had been wandering the galaxy. For decades, they moved from system to system, always careful to avoid hegemony patrols. "Sir," Borum said suddenly, her voice excited, "I am picking up something strange. It looks like a distress signal." Day One moved to her station quickly. "What kind of signal?" "It is very faint. Old. Maybe weeks old. But the frequency, ... Bjorm's fingers moved over her controls. "Hey, Captain, this is a human frequency. No alien race uses this specific pattern." Bridge went quiet. For a moment, nobody spoke. Human signals were rare. Most of the scattered ships had gone silent years ago. Either they had found new homes and were hiding, or they had been destroyed by the hegemony. "Where is it coming from?" Daewon asked. "The Kepler sector," Bjorm replied. "About 6 days' journey at maximum speed." Dr. Yoon-ha Park looked worried. "Captain, the Kepler sector is dangerous. Hegemony patrols pass through there regularly. If we go there, we might be walking into a trap." Daewon understood her concern. The hegemony had used fake distress signals before to lure human ships into ambushes. Many good ships had been destroyed that way. But this signal felt different. It had the right codes, its right patterns. "Show me the signal analysis," he said. Biorum brought up the data on the main screen. The signal was definitely human. It contained old Earth military codes that only human ships would know. More importantly, it contained a personal message hidden in the data stream. "Can you decode the personal message?" Borum worked for several minutes. Finally, words appeared on the screen. "Please help us. We are alive. We are waiting. Haven's Rest. Haven's Rest." Day One had heard that name before. It was supposed to be a mythical place where human refugees had built a secret colony. Most people thought it was just a story, a fairy tale that parents told their children to give them hope. "Captain," said Commander Taeho Young, the ship's security chief, "this could be a trap. The hegemony might have captured some humans and forced them to send this signal." Day One considered this. It was possible. The hegemony was cruel and smart. They would do anything to find and destroy the remaining human ships. But the signal contained too many specific details that only real humans would know. "We have to investigate," Day One decided. "If there are humans out there who need help, we cannot abandon them." "But sir," Dr. Unipark protested, "we have 3,000 people on this ship. If we fly into a trap, they all die. And if we ignore this signal, and those humans die waiting for help, We fail our duty as human beings, Daewon replied. We did not survive the great scattering just to hide in the darkness forever. The debate continued for an hour. Some crew members wanted to ignore the signal and find a safe system to hide in. Others wanted to investigate but send a small scout ship first. Daewon listened to all opinions. Finally, he made his decision. We will go to the Kepler sector, but we will be careful. Gorham, plot a course that keeps us away from known hegemony patrol routes. Taeho, prepare the ship for possible combat. You now get the medical bay ready for refugees. How many refugees should I prepare for? Dr. Yunas asked. I don't know, Daewon admitted. Maybe a few hundred. Maybe a few thousand. Maybe none, if this is a trap. BORM began working on the navigation. Captain, I found a route. It will take us through the Broken Rings Nebula. Sensors don't work well there, so we can hide from patrols. But it will add 2 days to our journey. Do it, Daewon ordered. Better to arrive late than not at all. As the New Dawn changed course toward the Kepler sector, Daewon thought about the message. Haven's Rest. Could it be real? Could there really be humans who had not just survived but built a permanent home? The idea gave him hope. For 50 years, humanity had been running, always moving, always hiding, never able to build anything permanent. If Haven's Rest was real, it might be the beginning of something new. A chance for humanity to stop running and start fighting back. Captain Bioram said quietly, What if it is real? What if there really is a human colony out there? Daewon smiled for the first time in months. Then we will help them. Maybe, just maybe, we will find a new home for our people. The New Dawn flew deeper into space, carrying 3,000 refugees toward an uncertain future. Behind them, the darkness of space held the memories of a destroyed Earth. Ahead of them, the Kepler sector waited with its secrets. In 6 days, they would learn if hope was stronger than fear. In 6 days, they would discover if humanity's greatest strength was its ability to survive against impossible odds. The war had scattered humanity to the stars. Now it was time to see if the stars would help them find their way back to each other. The New Dawn dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler sector. Captain Daewon Kim watched as the main screen filled with thousands of asteroids floating in the darkness. Each rock was the size of a small moon, creating a maze of stone and metal that stretched for millions of kilometers. Sensors are having trouble penetrating the asteroid field, reported Lieutenant Boram Lee. Her fingers moved quickly across her controls. The asteroids contain high amounts of metal, or it is blocking our scans. Dr. Yoon-ha Park moved to stand. Beside the captain, this would be a perfect place to hide a colony. The metal in the asteroids would block most scanning equipment. Daewon nodded. Any sign of the source of that distress signal? Still searching, BORM replied. The signal is definitely coming from somewhere inside the asteroid field. But I cannot pinpoint the exact location. Commander Taeho Jung looked. Worried, Captain? This feels like a trap. If enemy ships are hiding in those asteroids, we would never see them coming. Before Daewon could respond, BORM's console started beeping rapidly. Captain, I am detecting movement. Multiple ships approaching from the asteroid field. Battle stations. Daewon ordered immediately. Throughout the ship, alarms began to sound. Crew members ran to their positions. The New Dawn might be a refugee ship, but it still had weapons for defense. How many ships? Daewon asked. 6 contacts. BORM reported. They are small, fighter-sized. Wait, ... She paused, studying her readings more carefully. Captain, these ships are not using standard propulsion. I have never seen energy signatures like this before. On the main screen, 6 small ships appeared from behind the asteroids. They moved in perfect formation, but something was strange about them. They seemed to shimmer and fade, like ghosts in the darkness. Are they cloaked? Taeho asked. Not exactly, Boram said. That is more like they are bending light around themselves. Very advanced stealth technology. Suddenly, the communications system crackled to life. A human voice spoke through the static. Unknown vessel. This is Commander Haein Woo Choi of Haven's Rest Defense Force. Identify yourself immediately. The bridge went silent. Dr. Yunha Park grabbed Daewon's arm. It is real, she whispered. Haven's Rest is real. Daewon activated the communication system. Commander Choi, this is Captain Daewon Kim of the refugee ship New Dawn. We received your distress signal. We came to help. There was a long pause. Then Commander Choi's voice returned, sounding surprised. New Dawn? Are you carrying refugees from Earth? Yes, Daewon replied. 3,000 survivors? We've been searching for other human colonies for decades. Another pause. Then a different voice came through the comm system. This one belonged to a woman. Captain Kim, this is Engineer So Young-han. We are going to send you navigation coordinates. Follow them exactly. Do not deviate from the path or you will trigger our defense systems. Understood, Daewon said. Right. We will follow your guidance. The 6 small ships moved into escort formation around the New Dawn. Bioram received the navigation data and began following the prescribed route into the asteroid field. As they moved deeper into the field, Data began to notice something amazing. The asteroids were not natural. They had been hollowed out and connected by tunnels and bridges. Lights glowed from windows carved into the rock faces. Ships moved between the asteroids like cars on a highway. Captain Dr. Yunha Park said in wonder, "Look at the size of this place. There must be hundreds of thousands of people living here. Maybe millions," Bioram added. The asteroids extend for hundreds of kilometers in all directions. Engineer. So Young-han's voice came through the comm again. Welcome to Haven's Rest, Captain Kim. We have been waiting 50 years for another refugee ship to find us. The New Dawn was guided to a massive docking bay carved inside one of the largest asteroids. As they approached, Daewon could see that the bay was large enough to hold dozens of ships, but most of the docking spaces were empty.
How many ships?
Do you have, Daewon asked? Not many, Commander Choi replied. We lost most of our fleet over the years. Hegemony patrols have been getting more aggressive lately. The New Dawn docked smoothly. Within minutes, an airlock connected the 2 vessels. Commander Hoi Han-woo Choi was the first person to board the New Dawn. He was a man in his 50s, with gray hair and tired eyes. Behind him came Engineer So-young. Han, a woman about the same age, with strong hands and a warm smile. Captain Kim, Commander Choi said, shaking Daewon's hand. It is good to see another human face after so many years. How long have you been here? Dr. Yunha Park asked. The early days of the scattering, So-young replied. We found this asteroid field and decided to make it our home. We have been building and expanding ever since. Commander Choi led them on a tour of the colony. The corridors were carved from solid rock but lined with metal panels and lights. Everything was clean and well-maintained. They passed schools where children learned about Earth. They saw farms where vegetables grew under artificial suns. They walked through factories where workers built equipment and weapons. How do you stay hidden from the hegemony? Daewon asked. Stealth technology, So-young explained. We salvaged it from a crashed alien ship years ago. Our best scientist, Jin Ho-yoon, figured out how to reverse engineer it. Now all our ships and facilities are nearly invisible to most sensors. They reached the colony's command center, a large room carved into the heart of the asteroid. Dozens of people worked at control stations, monitoring the space around Haven's Rest. At the center of the room stood a man in his 40s with intense eyes and nervous energy. Captain Kim, Commander Choi said, I would like you to meet Dr. Jin Ho-yoon, our chief scientist. Dr. Yoon shook Daewon's hand, but seemed distracted. Commander Choi, we need to talk privately. The experiments are showing promising results. Experiments? Your Dr. Yunha Park asked. Dr. Yoon looked uncomfortable. Commander Choi sighed. Dr. Yoon has been working on some classified projects. Ways to give humanity an advantage against the hegemony. Before anyone could ask more questions, alarms began to sound throughout the command center. A technician called out from his station. Commander, we have a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting a large fleet approaching the system. What kind of fleet? Commander Choi asked, moving quickly to the main display. Hegemony, the technician replied. At least 20 ships? It will be here in 6 hours. The command center went silent. Dr. Yoon looked pale. They found us, he whispered. After all these years, they finally found us. Commander Choi turned to Daewon. Captain, I am sorry. By coming here, you may have led them to us.
It is
Not possible, Bjorn said. We were careful. We avoided all known patrol routes. The hegemony has been hunting us for decades, Sa-young said grimly. They've been getting better at tracking human ships. Admiral Vextai has made it his personal mission to find and destroy every human colony. Who is Admiral Vextai? Why? Asked a hegemony commander who specializes in hunting humans. Commander Choi explained. He has destroyed dozens of human settlements. If he is coming here, it means he knows about Haven's Rest. Dr. Yoon stepped forward. Commander, maybe it is time to use the enhanced soldiers. My daughter Misun and the others are ready. Enhanced soldiers? Dr. Yoonha Park asked. Commander Choi looked uncomfortable. Dr. Yoon has been conducting genetic experiments, combining human DNA with alien genetic material. The results are ... unusual. You've been creating human-alien hybrids? Daewon asked, shocked. Only to give us a fighting chance, Dr. Yoon said defensively. The hegemony has superior technology. We needed to level the playing field. Suddenly, a young woman entered the command center. She was in her 20s, with dark hair and strange golden eyes. When she looked at Daewon, he felt like she was seeing inside his mind. Father, she said to Dr. Yoon, I can sense the approaching fleet. They are coming with the intention to destroy everything. Dr. Yoon's face went pale. Misun, how can? You sense them? They are still hours away. I do not know, Mason replied. I can feel their hatred. Their determination to kill every human in this system? Commander Choi made a decision. All hands, prepare for battle. This is not a drill. We are about to fight for our lives. As the colony prepared for war, Daewon wondered if they had found hope or walked into their doom. The hegemony fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a swarm of angry hornets. 20 massive warships appeared at the edge of the Kepler sector, their weapons already charging for battle. Admiral Vextai stood on the bridge of his flagship, the destroyer, and smiled coldly as he looked at the asteroid field ahead. Finally, he said to his second-in-command, after 30 years of hunting, I have found the largest human nest in the galaxy. Back in Haven's Rest, alarms echoed through every tunnel and corridor. Commander Hien Woo Choi stood in the command center, watching the enemy fleet approach on the main screen. His hands were steady, but his heart was racing. All defense stations. Report status, he ordered. Defense Grid Alpha is online, reported Captain Tejino from the outer perimeter. Stealth mines are armed and ready. Defense Grid Beta is operational, added Lieutenant Wyoung Kim from another station. Asteroid-based weapons are charging. Dr. Jin Ho-yoon approached Commander Choi with his daughter Mi-soon beside him. Commander, we need to evacuate the children. The deep tunnels will protect them if the battle goes badly. Young-soo Park is already organizing the evacuation, Commander Choi replied. Young-soo was only 16 years old, but he had proven himself to be a natural leader among the colony's youth. Mi-soon suddenly grabbed her father's arm. Her golden eyes were wide with fear. Father, something is wrong. I can sense something else out there. Something ancient and dangerous. What do you mean? Dr. Yoon asked. The asteroid's Messin whispered. There is something sleeping deep inside the largest asteroid. The approaching battle is going to wake it up. Before anyone could respond, the first hegemony ships entered the asteroid field. Captain Taejin. O's voice crackled through the comm system. Enemy ships are moving into attack formation. They are scanning for our hidden bases. Activate full stealth protocols, Commander Choi ordered. Do not fire until they are close enough to guarantee hits. The Haven's Rest defense fleet consisted of 30 small ships, each equipped with advanced stealth technology. They moved through the asteroid field like ghosts, invisible to most sensors. Captain Tejino commanded the lead squadron from his ship, the Shadow Runner. Enemy fleet is splitting up, reported Lieutenant Boram Lee from the New Dawn. They are trying to surround the entire asteroid field. Captain Daewon Kim stood beside Commander Choi in the command center. My ship has weapons. We can help in the battle. Thank you, Captain, Commander Choi replied. But your ship is not designed for combat. Please help with the evacuation instead. In the deep asteroid tunnels, Young-Soo Park led hundreds of children to safety. The tunnels had been carved over decades, creating a maze of passages that reached deep into the asteroid's core. As they moved deeper, Young-Soo noticed something strange. "Look at the walls," he said to his friend Na-Young-Song.
These
Carvings are not human-made. The walls were covered with symbols and patterns that seemed to glow with their own inner light. The deeper they went, the brighter the symbols became. Na-Young, who was training to be a pilot, had studied alien languages in school. "These symbols are really old," she said. "Maybe millions of years old. But I can read some of them. They say something about guardians and sleeping watchers." Above them, the battle began. The hegemony ships moved deeper into the asteroid field, their powerful sensors searching for human targets. Admiral Vextai was confident that his superior firepower would crush the human colony within hours. "Begin bombardment of the largest asteroids," he ordered. "If they are hiding in there, blast them out." The first hegemony ship to fire at an asteroid got a deadly surprise. As soon as its weapons activated, stealth mines hidden throughout the field exploded. The massive warship was torn apart by multiple explosions. "Stealth mines," shouted a hegemony officer. "They have turned the entire asteroid field into a weapon." Captain Tejiano smiled grimly as he watched the enemy ship explode. "That is one down, 19 to go." But the hegemony fleet was not helpless. They began using wide-area sensor sweeps to detect the hidden human ships. One by one, the stealth fighters were discovered and engaged in combat. "We are losing ships," reported Lieutenant Wai Young Kim. "The enemy is adapting to our stealth technology." In the command center, Misan suddenly screamed and fell to her knees. Her golden eyes were glowing brighter than ever before. "It is waking up," she cried. "The thing in the deep asteroid is waking up." Deep in the tunnels, Young-Soo Park and Na-Young-Song felt the asteroid shake. Now the ancient symbols on the walls began to pulse with brilliant light. Strange sounds echoed through the passages like machinery starting up after 1,000,000 years. "Of sleep, we need to get out of here," Young-Soo said, grabbing Na-Young's hand. "Something is happening." They ran back toward the surface, but the tunnels were changing. New passages were opening. The asteroid itself was coming alive. Back in space, the battle was turning against the humans. Despite their stealth technology and clever tactics, they were outnumbered and outgunned. Admiral Vextai's ships were systematically destroying the human defense fleet. Commander Captain Tejiano reported, his voice strained. "We have lost half our ships. Do not think we can hold them much longer." Commander Choi clenched his fists. "Dr. Yoon, we need your enhanced soldiers now. Can Mi-sun and the others help us?" Dr. Yoon looked at his daughter, who was still kneeling on the floor with glowing eyes. "Mi-sun, can you hear me?" "The machines are waking up," Mi-sun said in a strange voice. "The ancient guardians are responding to the battle. They were built to protect this place." Suddenly, the largest asteroid in the field began to change. Its surface split open like a flower, revealing massive structures inside. Ancient weapons that had been hidden for millions of years emerged from the rock. They were bigger than anything the humans or the hegemony had ever built. "What in the name of the void is that?" Admiral Vextai demanded, as his sensors detected. The massive structures, the ancient weapons began to glow with the same light as the symbols in the tunnels. Energy readings off the scale filled the sensor displays of every ship in the system. Mi-sun stood up slowly. "Can interface with them," she said. "The alien DNA in my body is connecting with their control systems." "What are you talking about?" Dr. Yoon asked. "The ancient race that built these weapons," Mi-san explained. "They were the same species that we used to create the hybrid experiments. My enhanced genetics allow me to control their technology." "Commander." Choi stared at the massive ancient weapons on the screen. "Can you use them against the hegemony fleet?" Mi-sun nodded. "But there is a price. Once I connect with the ancient systems, I might not be able to disconnect. I could be trapped in their computer network forever." "Mi-sun, no," Dr. Yoon said. "There has to be another way." Father Mi-sun said softly. This is what I was created for. This is why the experiments were necessary. On the main screen, the ancient weapons finished their startup sequence. They were massive cannons that could destroy entire fleets with single shots, but they needed a compatible mind to control them. Admiral called a terrified hegemony officer. Those weapons are targeting our ships. Energy readings are beyond anything we have ever seen. Admiral Vextai's confidence was shaken for the first time in decades. All ships, prepare for immediate retreat. But it was too late. Mysoon placed her hands on the ancient control interface that had risen from the command center floor. Her golden eyes blazed with power as she connected with technology that predated the hegemony by millions of years. I can see everything, she whispered. The entire history of this place, the ancient race that built these weapons, and the terrible. The enemy they were designed to fight. The ancient weapons fired. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the asteroid, striking the hegemony ships with devastating force. In seconds, half of Admiral Vextai's fleet was destroyed. Retreat, Admiral Vextai screamed. All ships retreat immediately. But as the surviving hegemony ships tried to escape, Mysoon made a terrible discovery. Just defensive systems. They were prison guards. And the battle had cracked open something that had been locked away for millions of years. Deep in space, something dark and hungry began to stir. The real enemy was awakening, and it was far worse than anything the galaxy had ever faced. Myson stood connected to the ancient alien control system, her golden eyes blazing with power as information flooded her mind. Through the alien technology, she could see across the entire galaxy. What she saw made her blood run cold. She said in a voice that echoed strangely through the command center, "The ancient weapons were not built to fight the hegemony, were built to fight something much worse." Dr. Jin Ho-yoon moved closer to his daughter, worried by the strange glow surrounding her body. "What do you mean, Mysoon?" "The race that built these weapons called them the Devourers," Mysoon explained. "They consume entire star systems, leaving nothing behind but empty space. The ancient race sacrificed themselves to lock the Devourers away in a prison dimension." Commander Hyun Woo Choi studied the readings on his screens. The surviving hegemony ships were retreating rapidly, but new contacts were appearing at the edge of the system. "Mi-san, we have more immediate problems. Another fleet is approaching." "Those are not hegemony ships," Mysoon said without looking at the screens. "I can sense the minds aboard them. They are human." Captain Daewon Kim moved to the communications. "Station, this is Captain Kim of the New Dawn. Unknown human fleet. Please identify yourselves." A familiar voice answered through the static. "This is Admiral Sang Ho Chen of the United Human Fleet." "Commander Choi? It has been a long time." "Commander." Choi's face went pale. "Sang Ho? We thought you died in the Battle of Titan Station 20 years ago." "I survived," Admiral Chen replied. "I have been building a secret fleet in the deep asteroid mines of this system. When the ancient weapons activated, they sent a signal that woke up my ships. Through the viewports, they could see dozens of human ships emerging from hidden bases. Throughout the asteroid field, these were not refugee vessels like the New Dawn. They were warships. Built from salvaged alien technology and human determination." "How many ships do you have?" Commander Choi asked. 50 combat vessels," Admiral Chen answered. "Each one crewed by humans who have been waiting decades for a chance to fight back." Commander Haewon Yu's voice came through another communication. "Channel, Admiral, this is the Star Hunter. All ships report ready for combat." Young-soo Park and Na Young-song emerged from the deep tunnels, their faces bright with excitement. Commander Choi Young-soo called out, "The ancient symbols in the tunnels are showing us things. Maps of hidden technology caches throughout the galaxy." "What kind of technology?" Dr. Yoon asked. "Weapons," Na Young replied. "Ships. Manufacturing. Facilities." The ancient race hid their technology all over the galaxy before they died. Mysoon nodded slowly. "The prison that holds the Devourers is weakening. The ancient race knew this day would come. They left their technology for whoever would be strong enough to use it." Dr. Ji-hoon Lim, the colony's communications specialist, suddenly spoke up from his station. "Commander, I am intercepting hegemony communications across the galaxy. Something strange is happening. What kind of strange? Commander Choi asked. The hegemony races are arguing among themselves, Dr. Lim explained. Some of them are saying that humans are not the real threat. They are talking about ancient warnings and their oldest records. Captain Tajano brought his damaged ship back to the main docking bay. His face was grim but determined. Commander, we lost 12 ships in the battle. But we proved something important today. We can fight the hegemony and win the victory. Here we'll send a message across the galaxy, Admiral Chen said as his flagship approached Haven's Rest. Every human colony will know that we are not helpless anymore. Misun suddenly jerked as new information flowed through the alien interface. The signal from the ancient weapons has traveled across the galaxy. It is activating other defense systems. But it is also weakening the prison that holds the Devourers. How long do we have? Commander Choi asked. Months, maybe less, Misun replied. The Devourers are already testing the walls of their prison. When they break free, they will consume everything in their path. Admiral Chen's shuttle docked with the command center asteroid. When he emerged, Commander Choi was shocked to see how much his old friend had aged. Admiral Chen was now in his 70s, with white hair and deep lines around his eyes. Haiyan Wu, Admiral Chen said, embracing his old comrade. I never thought I would see you again. I thought the hegemony had killed you, Commander Choi replied. How did you survive? I was captured after Titan Station, Admiral Chen explained. Spent 5 years in a hegemony prison. When I escaped, I swore I would build a fleet strong enough to make them pay. Dr. Yoon approached the Admiral. Sir, we need to discuss the enhanced soldiers. My daughter and the others with hybrid genetics seem to be the key to using the ancient technology. How many enhanced humans do you have? Admiral Chen asked. 12, Dr. Yoon replied. Each one has different alien genetic modifications. Misun seems to be the most compatible with the ancient systems. Misun spoke without turning away from the alien interface. Admiral Chen, I can see your ships through the ancient sensor network. Your weapons are good, but they will not be enough against the Devourers. We need to find the other ancient technology caches. Where are they located? Admiral Chen asked. Youngsu Park stepped forward with a datapad covered in alien symbols. We found star charts in the deep tunnels. There are major technology caches in 17 different systems. But getting to them will not be easy, Nai. Song added. Most of those systems are controlled by the hegemony. Admiral Chen studied the star charts. Then we will have to take them from the hegemony. Commander Haewon, you joined the conversation? Admiral, our intelligence reports say that some hegemony races are starting to question their leadership. Maybe we can turn some of them against the others. The hegemony has been united in their hatred of humans for 50 years, Commander Choi said doubtfully. Why would they change now? Misun finally turned away from the alien interface, her golden eyes dim with exhaustion, because their oldest records contain warnings about the Devourers. Deep down, they know that humans are not the real enemy. Dr. Lim looked up from his communications station. I am picking up a transmission from the Outer Rim. It is being broadcast on old Earth frequencies. Put it on the main speaker, Commander Choi ordered. A human voice filled the command center. Speaking with a strong accent, this is Captain Sujin Bei of the exploration ship Far Horizon. To any humans receiving this message, we have discovered something terrible on the galaxy's edge. Entire star systems are vanishing, not destroyed. It's vanishing completely. The command center went silent. Admiral Chen spoke first. The Devourers have already started to break free. Misun nodded grimly. The prison is failing faster than I thought. We have weeks, not months. Then we need to move quickly, Admiral Chen decided. We will split our forces. Half will go after the ancient technology caches. The other half will try to contact moderate hegemony leaders. What about the colonies? Commander Choi asked. There are human settlements scattered across the galaxy. They need to be warned. I will coordinate the warning messages, Dr. Lim volunteered. If we can unite all the human colonies, we might have enough ships to make a difference. Captain Daewon Kim stepped forward. Admiral, the New Dawn can carry messages to human colonies. We know the locations of dozens of settlements. Do it, Admiral Chen ordered. Contact every human group you can find. Tell them that the time for hiding is over. Either we unite and fight, or we all die separately. Mechanic Wu Jinkong raised his hand from the back of the room. Admiral, what about upgrading our ships with the ancient technology? If we can reverse engineer their weapons, we might stand a chance. Mysoon Admiral Chen asked, can you help us integrate the ancient technology with our ships? Soon looked at the alien interface with exhaustion in her golden eyes. I can try, but each time I connect with their systems, I lose a little more of my humanity. Soon, I might not be able to disconnect at all. We will find another way, Dr. Yoon said firmly. I will not lose my daughter to save the galaxy, Father Meeson said softly. If saving the galaxy means sacrificing myself, then that is a price I am willing to pay. As the command center buzzed with activity, Admiral Chen looked out at the stars through the main viewport. For the first time in 50 years, humanity was not just running and hiding. They were preparing to fight back. But the enemy they faced was beyond anything they had ever imagined. The war that scattered humanity. The stars was about to become a battle for the survival of all life in the galaxy. Captain Sujin Bei stood on the bridge of the far horizon and watched in horror as the Kepler 7 star system simply ceased to exist. One moment there were 9 planets orbiting a bright yellow star. The next moment there was nothing but empty. Space Communications Officer, Jin Kim, send another warning message to all human colonies, Captain Bei ordered. Tell them the Devourers have fully broken free from their prison. Message sent, Captain, Jin replied. How many colonies are still receiving our transmissions? We have lost contact with 12 settlements in the past week. The Far Horizon was a small exploration ship that had been mapping the galaxy's outer rim for decades. Captain Bei and her crew had been among the first to witness the Devourers' escape. What they saw changed everything they thought they knew about the universe. The Devourers were not ships or machines. They were living darkness itself. They moved through space like black clouds, consuming everything they touched. Stars, planets, asteroids, even empty space seemed to disappear when they passed through it. Captain, called pilot Na Young Song from her station. I am detecting a massive energy signature approaching from the galactic core. It is much larger than the previous Devourer groups. Captain Bei moved to the main display. The sensor readings showed something impossible. A wave of consuming darkness that stretched across dozens of star systems was moving toward inhabited space. How fast is it moving? Captain Bei asked. Current speed, it will reach the first hegemony colonies in 3 weeks, Na Young replied. The human settlements will be consumed within a month. Back at Haven's Rest, Fleet Admiral Min-Ho Choi stood in the expanded command center that now served as the headquarters for all human military operations. Min-Ho was Commander Hien Wu Choi's father, a man everyone thought had died in the early days of the scattering. Admiral reported communications specialist Jin Kim from her station. We are receiving messages from human colonies across the galaxy. 43 settlements have confirmed they will join the United Fleet.
What?
About the hegemony? Admiral Min-Ho asked. Ambassador Kung Mio stepped forward. She was a former diplomat who had spent years in hiding after the Great Scattering. Sir, I have been in contact with moderate leaders from 5 hegemony races. They are willing to discuss an alliance. Which races? Admiral Min-Ho asked. Altarians, the Vex, the Meridians, the Korvax, and surprisingly, the Zenth ambassador, O replied. Their leaders have found ancient records that describe the Devourers. They know their races will be consumed unless we work together. Dr. Ji-Hoon Lim looked up from his analysis station. Admiral, I have been studying the Devourer attack patterns. They are not random. They are systematically consuming the galaxy from the outer rim toward the center. What does that mean? Admiral Min-Ho asked. It means they are herding all remaining life toward the galactic core, Dr. Lim explained. They want to gather everything in one place before the final consumption. Misoon stood connected to the ancient alien interface, her golden eyes dim. With exhaustion, she had been linked to the system for days, coordinating human forces across the galaxy. Admiral, I can see the Devourer movements through the ancient sensor network. Dr. Lim is correct. They're driving us toward the core. Can we avoid the trap? Admiral Minho asked. No, Misun replied, but we can use it against them. The ancient race built their most powerful weapons near the galactic core. If we can reach those weapons, we might have a chance. Codebreaker Junho Ru worked frantically at his station, decoding ancient alien messages that Misun was channeling through the interface. Admiral, the ancient records show that the Devourers have one weakness. They cannot consume certain types of energy when it is properly focused. What kind of energy? Admiral Minho asked. Life force, Junho replied. The ancient race discovered that concentrated life energy can disrupt the Devourer's ability to consume matter, but it requires willing sacrifice from millions of beings. Yangsu Park, now promoted to lieutenant despite his age, approached the admiral with a data tablet. Sir, we have confirmation from 17 ancient technology sites, human teams, have successfully recovered weapons and ship blueprints from 12 locations. What about the other 5? Admiral Minho asked. 3 were destroyed by hegemony forces before we could reach them, Youngsu replied. 2 have been consumed by the Devourers. Admiral Sangho Chen entered the command center, his face grim with exhaustion. Minho, we have a problem. The Hegemony High Council has voted to reject our alliance proposal. They still believe they can defeat the Devourers without human help. Idiots, muttered Mechanic Wu Jinkong from his engineering station. They would rather see the galaxy destroyed than work with humans. Ambassador O shook her head. All of them feel that way. Admiral Vextai and the hardliners control the High Council, but many individual races are willing to break ranks. How many ships can we count on? Admiral Minho asked. From the moderate hegemony races, about 300 ships, Ambassador O replied. From human colonies, we have confirmed 200 vessels. Not nearly enough to face the main Devourer force. Captain Daewon Kim's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, this is the New Dawn. We have successfully contacted the Korvax Empire. They are sending their entire fleet to rendezvous with us at the Nexus station. Excellent work. Captain Admiral Minho replied. How many Korvax ships? 150 vessels, including their flagship Harmony, Captain Kim reported. Admiral Draken of the Korvax says his people remember the ancient warnings. They know cooperation is the only way to survive. Dr. Jinho Yun approached, his daughter at the alien interface. Misun, you have been connected for too long. You need to rest. I cannot disconnect now, father. Misun replied without looking at him.
Yes. The ancient systems are showing me something important. There is a way to stop the Devourers permanently, but it requires a massive coordinated effort. What kind of effort?
Admiral Minho asked. Every remaining ship in the galaxy must converge on the galactic core at the same time, Maysoon explained. The ancient race built a weapon there called the Genesis Array. It can create a barrier that will contain the Devourers permanently. What is the catch? Admiral Chen asked suspiciously. Mason was quiet for a long moment. The Genesis Array requires the complete life force of one compatible being to activate. Someone with both human and ancient alien DNA. Dr. Yoon went pale. No, there has to be another way, father. This is why I was created, Misun said gently. The hybrid experiments were not just about giving humans an advantage in battle. We're about creating someone who could operate the Genesis Array. Communications specialist the Jin Kim suddenly called out from her station. Admiral, we are receiving a priority message from Captain Bay on the far horizon. The main Devourer force has accelerated. They will reach the first inhabited systems in 10 days, not 3 weeks. The command center went silent. 10 days was not enough time to coordinate a galaxy-wide response. We need to buy more time, Admiral Minho decided. Admiral Chen, take half our fleet and conduct hit-and-run attacks on the Devourer advanced scouts. Slow them down as much as possible. That will be a suicide mission, Admiral Chen said. My ships cannot survive direct combat with the Devourers. You do not need to survive, Admiral Minho replied grimly. You just need to delay them long enough for the main fleet to reach the galactic core. Commander Haywan, you stepped forward. Admiral, I volunteer to lead the delaying action. Star Hunter and her crew are ready. No, said a new voice from the entrance to the command center. Everyone turned to see a young woman with silver hair and strange blue eyes. I will lead the delaying action. My name is Ji Min-yoon. I am Mizan's sister. Dr. Yoon stared at the young woman in shock. Ji-min? But you were lost in the experiments. We thought you were dead. I was changed, not killed, Ji-min replied. My modifications are different from Maysoon's. I can disrupt devour feeding patterns temporarily, long enough to give you the time you need. Maysoon turned from the interface for the first time in days. Sister, you are alive. I am alive, Jimin confirmed. And I know what I have to do. As the sisters embraced, Admiral Minho made his final preparations. In 10 days, every remaining ship in the galaxy would converge on the Galactic Core 4, a battle that would determine the fate of all life in the universe. The scattered children of Earth were about to lead the galaxy in its darkest hour. If they failed, everything would be consumed by the endless hunger of the Devourers. But if they succeeded, the galaxy would remember humanity not as refugees, but as saviors. The Galactic Core blazed with the light of 1 billion stars as the largest fleet in galactic history converged on the ancient Genesis Array. Captain Daewon Kim stood on the bridge of the Unity, a massive flagship built from the combined technologies of 12 different species. Admiral Minho reported communications specialist the Jin Kim. All fleets report ready. Human Forces, Korvax Empire, Altarian Republic, Vex Coalition, and Meridian Confederacy. Total count 873 ships. Fleet Admiral. Minho Choi looked at the tactical display with grim satisfaction. After 50 years of running and hiding, humanity had brought together the largest military alliance in galactic history. What about the hegemony hardliners? Admiral Vex Dai's faction is still approaching from the Outer Rim, reported Tactical Officer SIO Kunyang. But they are being pursued by Devourer scouts. They may not arrive in time for the final battle. Yunha Park stood beside the Admiral, her medical equipment ready to monitor Maysoon during the activation of the Genesis Array. Admiral, the weapon platform is ready. Once Maysoon begins the activation sequence, there will be no way to stop it. I understand, Doctor, Admiral Minho replied. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Choi. Today we fight not as separate races, but as children of the galaxy. Today we prove that unity is stronger than darkness. In the engineering sections throughout the fleet, mechanics like Wu Jinkong and Dong Wuxin worked frantically to keep the hybrid technology systems operational. The combination of human Korvax and ancient alien technology was unstable, but it was their only hope against the Devourers. Weapons Officer Hai Jin monitored the massive weapon arrays that had been installed on every ship. Admiral, all weapon systems are charged and ready. The concentrated life energy projectors are operating at maximum capacity on the outer edge of the galactic core. Gi Min-yoon led her small fleet of volunteer ships against the advancing Devourer scouts. Her modified genetics allowed her to disrupt their consumption patterns temporarily, but the effort was killing her. Sister Mason's voice came through the communication system. You have done enough. Fall back to the main fleet. I cannot. Keeman replied, her voice weak with exhaustion. The main Devourer force is right behind the scouts. If I stop now, they will overwhelm the Genesis Array before you can activate it. Maysoon stood in the center of the Genesis Array control chamber, her golden eyes connected to interfaces that had been dormant for millions of years. Around her, ancient machines hummed with power as they prepared for their final purpose. The array is responding to my presence, Maysoon reported. I can feel the ancient race's final thoughts in the system. They knew this day would come. Doctor. Jin Ho-yoon watched his daughter with tears in his eyes. Shh, son, there must be another way. Let me try to interface with the system instead. Father, your genetics are not compatible, Maysoon replied gently. Only someone with the specific hybrid modifications can activate the Genesis Array. This is what I was born to do. Yangsu Park, now serving as a lieutenant on the Unity, called out from his tactical station. Admiral long-range sensors are detecting the main devourer force. It is massive beyond anything we have seen before. The main display showed a wave of consuming darkness that stretched across hundreds of star systems. It moved toward the galactic core like a tsunami of destruction, devouring everything in its path. How long until it reaches us? Admiral Minho asked. At current speed, 20 minutes, Youngsu replied. Captain Tejino's voice crackled through the communication system from his position at the fleet's edge. Admiral, we can see the devourers consuming entire stars. They are not just eating matter, they are consuming space itself. Ambassador Kyun Mio stood at the diplomatic station, coordinating with the Allied fleet commanders. Admiral, the Korvax flagship Harmony reports their life energy projectors are ready. Admiral Draken says his people are honored to fight beside humanity. Tell him the honor is ours, Admiral Minho replied. On the far side of the Galactic, Corps Admiral Vextai's hegemony fleet finally broke through the Devourer pursuit. His flagship, the destroyer, was badly damaged, and half his ships had been lost. This is Admiral Vextai to the human fleet, came the transmission. We request permission to join your battle line. The bridge of the Unity went quiet. This was the same admiral who had hunted humans for decades. Admiral Minho made a decision that would have seemed impossible just months before. Permission granted, Admiral Vextai. Welcome to the Alliance. We soon began the final activation. Sequence for the Genesis Array. Ancient symbols blazed with light as systems that had waited millions of years for this moment came online. The array is ready, she announced. But I need all fleet life energy projectors to fire simultaneously when I give the signal. All ships, prepare for synchronized firing. Admiral Minho ordered. Dr. Yunha Park monitored my son's vital signs. With growing alarm, Admiral, the interface is burning out her nervous system. She may not survive the activation. I will survive long enough, Misun said, her voice echoing strangely as she merged more completely with the ancient systems. The Genesis Array requires complete unity of purpose from every living being in the fleet. What do you mean? Admiral Minho asked. Every person on every ship must focus their life energy through the projectors at the exact same moment, Misun explained. The ancient race discovered that consciousness itself is a form of energy. If we can unite 800,000 minds in a single purpose, we can create a barrier that will contain the devourers forever. Pilot Nayoung Song called out from her station. Contact with the main devourer force in 10 minutes. They are accelerating toward us. Throughout the fleet, crew members prepared for the most important moment in galactic history. On the Unity, Captain Daewon Kim gathered his crew on the bridge. On the Korvax flagship Harmony, Admiral Drakon led his people in their traditional Unity meditation. Even on Admiral Vextai's damaged destroyer, former enemies prepared to join their minds in common purpose. 5 minutes to contact, Nayoung reported. Misan's voice echoed through every ship in the fleet. People of the galaxy, I can feel your minds through the array, human and alien. Former enemies and old friends, all united in the desire to preserve life. The devourers feed on division and hatred. Today we show them the power of unity. 2 minutes to contact, Nayoung called out. The main devourer force loomed before them like a wall of absolute darkness. Stars disappeared as it approached, leaving nothing but empty void. In its wake, all ships charge life energy projectors to maximum, Admiral Minho ordered. 1 minute to contact, Nayoung reported. Mezin raised her hands to the final control interface. For my father who created me, for my sister who protected us, for every human who died in the great scattering, for every being who dreams of seeing tomorrow's stars, contact in 10 seconds, Nayoung announced. Misun shouted. 873 ships fired their life energy projectors simultaneously. 800,000 minds focused on a single purpose, protecting life in the galaxy. The combined energy flowed through Mizun into the Genesis Array. The ancient weapon blazed with light brighter than 1,000 suns. A barrier of pure life energy erupted from the galactic core, expanding outward at the speed of light. When it reached the devourer force, the darkness stopped. For the first time in millions of years, the devourers could not consume. The barrier held them, contained them, prevented them from devouring anything beyond its boundaries. Misun collapsed as the array completed its activation. Dr. Yunha Park rushed to her side, checking her vital signs. "She is alive," the doctor announced. "Unconscious but alive." Admiral Minho looked at the tactical display. The devourer force was trapped behind the energy barrier, unable to advance or retreat. "Is it permanent?" "According to the ancient records," Dr. Ji-Hoon Lim replied. "The barrier will last as long as there is intelligent life in the galaxy to maintain it. As long as beings choose unity over division, the devourers will remain contained." Years later, Captain Daewon Kim served as the first human representative on the new Galactic Council. The scattered human colonies had become the foundation of a new interstellar civilization. Dr. Yunha Park had established the Institute for Interspecies Cooperation. Ensuring that the unity forged in battle would continue in peace, May soon recovered. From her ordeal, though her golden eyes never lost their connection to the ancient systems, she dedicated her life to teaching others about the importance of unity and understanding between different species. The galaxy no longer whispered about humanity's scattering in fear. They spoke of it with gratitude. The humans had been scattered to the stars, not as punishment, but as preparation. When the galaxy's darkest hour came, they were exactly where they needed to be. Young-Soo Park, now a grown man and captain of his own ship, often told the story. "Two children of all species. We were scattered to learn strength," he would say. "We were scattered to find unity. We were scattered so that when darkness came, the light of the galaxy would not be concentrated in one place that could be destroyed." The great scattering had become the great gathering, and the galaxy was stronger for it. In the deep space between stars, the barrier held. The devourers remained contained, defeated not by weapons or technology, but by the simple truth that unity is always stronger than division. Humanity had come home. Not to Earth, but to their true home, the hearts and minds of every being who chose hope over fear, unity over division, and life over darkness. The war was over. The galaxy lived. And in the light of 1 trillion stars, the children of Earth finally found their peace.